just a little more Mayo. Healthy living for your life with Mayo. It's not about dieting, it's about living. The world needs more Mayo.
Hi everyone, it's Karen Mayo. Today I would like to chat about brain health, but we're going to kind of get into a little serious mode, okay? Because we do all require our brains to work every day. I am an award-winning international best-selling author of Mindful Eating. I'm certified in hormone health, the gut-brain connection. I'm a personal trainer. I'm also certified in sports nutrition. But I think that one of my most, I love talking about brain health because it affects everyone. And I'm really proud to be a brain health trainer and being certified in brain health by Dr. Daniel Amen and the Amen Clinics. So today is a little bit more serious, right? So we want to get down to brain health and how to optimize our brain. So a disclaimer, I'm not a medical doctor. So if you could, please see your medical doctor or your health professional before implementing any of my suggestions. All right, so we're going to be talking about brain health and how to optimize your brain. So we're going to go through 7 brain principles, and we're going to talk about the brain principles and to love your brain and get the life that you want. So let's go back over here. All right. So your brain is involved in everything you do, how you think, how you feel, how you act, you interact with others. And it's really the organ of judgment, personality, forethought. And I'm going to show you all the different parts of your brain. And so we can kind of talk about that, okay? So here they are. So your parental lobe is the part of the brain that focuses on focus, forethought, and impulse control. Your temporal lobe is the purple, and that's memory, learning, mood stability, visual and auditory processing. Your parietal lobes, which is the yellow, is your sensory processing and your sense of direction. Your occipital lobes is your visual, which is the light blue processing. And your cerebellum is your motor and your thought. So as a baby, when we're first born, our cerebellum is the one that starts to develop first. And then our frontal lobes are the ones that develop last. And you can kind of understand that because when you're teaching a baby how to stand up, right? So that's kind of like the motor. So you want to make sure that your baby gets up and it's standing properly. And that's kind of where the cerebellum comes in. So it goes from cerebellum to frontal lobes. Your frontal lobes are not completed until you're 25 to 28. And some people, it doesn't really completely fill in until they're 29 or 30. So females are around the age of 25 and males are around the age of 28 to 30. So it just depends on how quickly your cerebellum and your frontal lobes develop. Okay, so that is brain principle number 1. Your brain is involved in everything you do. Okay, so brain principle number 2 is when your brain works right, you work right. And what does that really mean? Well, if you're having difficulties in life, sometimes things are not going to work right. So you may want to list the areas. Oh, I should tell you, sorry. Grab a piece of paper and pencil. So you want to really list the areas of your life that are going well, and then list the areas of your life that are not going well. So you'll be able to figure it out. Because when it's troubled, you're most likely to have trouble in your life. Okay. Brain health principle number 3 is your brain is the most complex organ in the universe. And what do I mean by that? Well, here's some amazing facts. We have 100 billion neurons. And you know what neurons are? They're the nerve cells. We have more connections in our brain than there are stars in the universe. So only 2% of our body weight is used by our brain, but it actually uses 20 to 30% of the calories that you consume. So eating healthy is so important for the brain health. Being hydrated, so don't be dehydrated. So make sure you get your water intake. That's really, really important for our brain. It uses 20% of oxygen that we take in, and it also is has all of the blood flow that goes to our brain is around that 20% as well. So when you think about blood flow, you should really think about eating healthy foods that are good for blood flow, like the foods that are high in nitric oxide, like red beets, beet greens. Those are really good, and they're high in nitric oxide. The storage capacity of our brain, this is amazing. Like I couldn't believe this one. I was like, what? Is the storage capacity of 6 million years of the Wall Street Journal. Isn't that kind of interesting? That's very interesting. And it's actually the most expensive real estate in your body. And I'm sure you can understand why, because our brains run everything, right? They run companies, they drive our cars, they run our countries, though sometimes they're not so good. But we will just go with the fact that our brain has 100 billion supportive cells. So we need to keep them healthy, lubricated, hydrated, and that is principle number 3. Your brain is the most complex organ in the universe. Okay, number 4. Your brain is soft. Okay, so how soft is your brain? Your brain is so soft that it is the consistency of like soft butter, egg whites, and it's actually housed in this tough shell, right? This outer shell, but inside we have a lot of bony ridges, like especially right behind our eyes. And then right behind our ears as well. There's a ton of bony ridges. So, and then like if you're playing soccer, your forehead is constantly, or even the side of your head, or even football, your head is constantly getting damaged by your brain, I should say. Your brain is constantly getting damaged by the consistency of and the repetition of this football or soccer ball hitting your head. And it does a lot of damage in the frontal part of your brain and also in the temporal lobes. So, and actually the amygdala, which is inside your body, which is inside those rigid, bony areas behind our occipital lobes, our amygdala. So that's constantly getting, unfortunately, damaged. Yeah, it can get easily damaged. So, and And what happens actually is when you don't have undiagnosed brain injuries, depression is one of them, ADD and ADHD. You have panic attacks, addictions, homelessness, and suicide actually is a big one too, and drug and alcohol abuse. So that's a lot of it is caused by the damage that is done by brain injuries, head trauma. Even, just falling off a bike or just hitting your head, even just in like skiing or even falling out of bed. Have you ever fallen out of bed or down the stairs or, even off of a ladder or a tree? So some of the times you don't remember that you've fallen or that you've hit your head until like you just go, oh yeah, I remember that. I remember like years later, even a vehicle accident, even like just seeing stars, fainting is a huge one too. It's undiagnosed brain injury. So a lot of people don't get diagnosed until you actually get your brain scanned. And you don't really know until you get your brain scanned. And there are lots of ways that you can get it scanned. I mean, Amen Clinics has a scan called SPECT, and it's a 3-headed camera. So it's like a triangle. And you go in and it takes surface and then it also shows blood flow. So it will show you where the blood flow is lower and then also where it is overactive. So the SPECT scan shows too low, too high, or just enough, right? So that is brain healthy principle number 4. Your brain is soft and your skull is hard. Brain health principle number 5. There are 3 strategies that are really simple. Number 1 is to have brain envy. So if you love your brain and you want to keep it, have brain envy. You want to have the best brain that you can have, especially in the later years of your life. You want to keep all of your, let's say you want to know who everyone is. You want to know where your car keys are, right? And you don't want to have someone else taking care of you. So we want to avoid anything that hurts your brain. That's number 2. And what could hurt your brain? What are things that hurt your brain? Can you think of any things that would hurt your brain? Well, let's go through blood flow, right? So nicotine is something that may hurt your brain because it dehydrates you, right? Caffeine's the same thing. If you have any sort of heart issues, heart disease like hypertension or high blood pressure, that all affects blood flow. Can't really talk today. I don't know, my lips are in the way. Inflammation. So having low omega-3s, having high C-active protein is really bad for the brain. Leaky gut, processed food, diet is very, very bad for our brains. Toxins, such as alcohol, drugs, mold, pesticides, anesthesia is actually really, really bad for our brain. And how about the products that we use, right? So lotions and deodorants that are made with chemicals, those are all bad for our brain. Heavy metals, infections and immunity. So infections such as Lyme disease, and allergies, infectious diseases, your immune system, right? So if you don't have a great immune system, that can affect your brain. So you want to make sure that your vitamin D levels are optimal, not normal, but optimal. What does that mean? So normal they say is around 30, but we want to be optimal when it comes to vitamin D. So our vitamin D level should be 50 plus. All right, hormone levels. So your neurohormones, right? So an abnormal thyroid or testosterone, progesterone, or even estrogen, and DHEA levels are all neurohormones that, if they're out of whack, will hurt our brain. Diabetes, so being overweight, I mean, that's kind of common sense. So high blood pressure, that actually the whole problem with being obese or having diabetes, which is diabetes, is that your blood vessels get damaged. And obviously that's how we get blood through our brain, is through our blood vessels. So even through our whole body. And if you have damaged blood vessels, that's we need to figure out, which will, in another video, we will go through how to help blood vessels become more healthy, and also what you can do to create more blood. Okay.
All you need is just a little